want to tell you a little history lesson. Way back in 2012, Lexus debuted the LF-LC Concept Coupe. It was a two-door, little wedge-looking thing, and it was gorgeous. It was debuted at the Detroit Auto Show in January of 2012. And literally audiences, car aficionados, everybody just went nuts for this coupe. But the world said, not going to do it. It's a cool, awesome, pretty coupe with a V8. Not going to happen. Not from Lexus. So Lexus said, oh yeah? Watch this. Detroit Auto Show, 2016. The LC500 was unveiled, the production version. And the place went nuts because the LC500 looked almost exactly like the LF-LC Concept Coupe. They did it. They brought it to market. And we've reviewed the LC500. It's a nice car. It's very cool. But can it do this? So we have before us today the 2021 Lexus LC500 Convertible. And is this car ever fun? Alright, so what is this? It's the LC500 Coupe without a roof. Lexus would have you believe that that's not quite the case. They did all kinds of work putting like a torsional rigidity box in the frame and changing the suspension so it's unique to just the convertible. They did all sorts of things. To be honest, there's still some pretty considerable chassis flex. You can feel it just bend a little bit when you go over the big bumps. Do you sacrifice something when you get a convertible? Yes. Yes, you do. But what do you gain? The world. I mean, you get to hear this engine with the top down. You get to experience the wind, the elements, the smells of fresh country air. And this cabin is a really nice place to be. Just like the coupe, the convertible is powered by a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 putting out 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque. That all runs through a 10-speed gearbox to the rear wheels. Can you have fun with that? Yeah. Yes, you can. In fact, you can have quite a bit of fun with that. Just listen to that noise! I mean, come on! This is a Lexus! The cabin is laid out identically to the coupe with both its pros and cons. Comfortable seats, nice steering wheel, paddle shifters that feel nice to play with. You got this cool little screen here in front of you that you can push this button on the steering wheel and it moves over to give you information on the side. They took that from the Lexus LFA back in the day. The seats are heated and cooled. You need that if you're going to leave the top down on a sunny day. You have this cool little vent right here on your neck. That's a little air scarf for when you're driving around in the evening and the top is down and it's a little chilly. You get to blow air over your shoulders to keep you warm. That's a nice feature. Every convertible should have that. And it works really well. I tried it out last night. Fantastic. But, and that's a big but, like the LC500 Coupe, the cons are here as well. The biggest one of all is this touchpad right here. If you want to interact with this screen, this is not a touch screen. There's glass in front of it. You can't touch this thing. You have to work through this. And oh, is this annoying. Even though there's a heads-up display, which shows the pertinent information, and that's a great thing. All cars should have a heads-up display. Keep your eyes on the road, right? But then Lexus puts in this monstrosity, and I'm going to call it that because that's what it is. Where you take your eyes from here to there, and are going to be touch padding around, trying to find, okay, I want Sirius Radio. I had to move 5 different times. Now I've got Sirius Radio, and I want to do something over here, but I want a station list, and I got to do this. And you have to do so many different things to interact with this car that you have no idea if you're even on the road anymore. And the LC500 is equipped with Apple Carplay compatibility, Android Auto compatibility, and it even has Alexa compatibility. So you can drive into your house and be like, hey Alexa, turn on my lights, open my garage door, unlock the house. It'll do all that sort of stuff. But you still have to play with this stupid touchpad. How the engineers at Lexus feel this thing still makes sense, or ever made sense, is beyond me. I'm sorry, but this is an atrocity and should not be in any Lexus vehicle, and it's in all of them. So while I may look a little irritated, it's because I am. Can I overlook this? I guess, because this engine is here. And every time I do that, it brings a smile to my face. Okay, so here we are on a rough road. There was even a sign that said, rough road. And you can see me bobbing and weaving all over the place, and I'm in normal right now. Let's flip it down to comfort and see if that makes a difference. Does adjust the suspension, adjust the steering, adjust all the sort of things to soften up the car, but you're still getting chassis flex. You're still getting flex because you cut this whole piece off here, and it's really hard to do that and not sacrifice some solidity to the body. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, it's not. A lot of convertibles have chassis flex. It's really hard to engineer that out of a car. When you take the roof off of something, you're weakening the structure, right? It's not overwhelmingly negative. I'm making it sound like it is. I'm nitpicking. So when they chopped off this roof and added all of this structural rigidity, changed the suspension, that adds weight. The LC500 convertible is just over 4,500 pounds. That's a lot of beef. And the powertrain does a really good job sort of dispelling that 4,500 pound weight, but it's still a lot of weight to move around. The nice part about that weight is you do have this sort of comfortable cruising attitude to the vehicle. Even at over 4,500 pounds, with this engine, the LC500 convertible will hit 60 in 4.6 seconds. That's not bad. Okay, so up here, just like in the coupe, we've got a little knobby to adjust the suspension. Push it for normal, down for comfort, up for sport. Sport. I like the sport. Sport firms up the suspension a little bit, holds the gears a little longer, shifts a little more aggressively, a little more throttle precision, which is interesting because there is a dead spot, at least in this car, at the initial lean in on the throttle, you know, where you can get sort of a little jerk if you're not used to it. We didn't notice that in the LC500 coupe that we had, so that might just be a little quirk with this early production car on the convertible. But no matter what mode you're in, you can pull the little lever down here backwards and go into manual mode. And don't forget, you've got 10 speeds to play with. Shifts are quick. And these pops. Jeez. Oh, they're like little rifle shots. That sounds so good. You can play a symphony with this car. Oh, strings and trumpets. Oh, and percussion. Oh, there's some bounce from that body. Oh, yes! Oh, the brakes are pretty good too. I should probably mention that. They're big honking discs in the front and still big honking discs in the back. And they haul that 4,500 pounds down pretty well. I mean, that engine is just so sonorous. Listen to that. I mean, I can overlook all of this when I have an engine like that. Oh, forget all the foibles. And when you're done hooning around, pull it down, put it back in drive, flip this down to comfort, and just cruise. Just cruise. Oh, this car is something. I applaud Lexus for taking the effort to do something like this car. They really did a fantastic job with the LC500, and when you cut this roof off and you put that top down and just play with all the things that this car can do, this really is an amazing piece of engineering. Bravo. Bravo.